Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be here and I have some chance to share with you some ideas about the education, especially now when we are in a kind of, let's say, checkpoint between older, former version of traditional thinking about education and completely new ideas. I'm working as a biology teacher in Leszno High School #1 in Poland, and let's start. A little bit paraphrasing the very famous rock band The Doors song, I can say we are teacher obliged to light students' fire. I mean the fire of engagement and inspiration. So come on, teachers. And if you take a look at the last two words of the title, I mean students' fire, you can easily recognize 12 letters. Why I'm saying that each of these letters is corresponding to one following idea. So we've got 12 ideas, kind of survival kit for saving or increasing the student engagement. So come on, teachers, 12 ideas in 10 minutes. Yeah? Everybody knows about the role of mathematics in modern education, and mathematics is very often based on equations. And here I've got a proposal for a most important equation in modern education, relationship between question marks and exclamation marks. And paradoxically speaking, the most stupid questions your student asks is the better for new vision of education. And if you are teachers, or we are teachers, and if our lessons end with exclamation marks, it could be treated a very bad symptom. So once again, in my opinion, the most important equation in a new vision of education, one question mark is more valuable even than 1, 2, 3 exclamation marks. Yeah? Here we've got the road, still quoting the rock band's long winding roads. And what we can say for sure is that we only know where it starts, but we can say where it would finally end. And somebody can ask what it has in common with education. Teachers should nowadays treat not only the lesson, but also the student as a kind of adventure. And okay, curriculum is important, and we have heard the word curriculum in many different variations during these 2 days of summit, but you never should assume at the very beginning of the educational process where it would end finally, because otherwise you wouldn't make a space for any another roads for your students for following their own interests and their own engagement. Yeah? So treat the student as the adventure. Here we've got the beautiful bird species quite common in Europe, which is feeding on winter table. And what we can say for sure about that goldfinch, that he or she is very efficient in searching for food. And we should remember as a teachers that we are living in a time when we would never defeat the teacher who possesses the biggest information, the biggest knowledge when it comes to the source of information in the world, master of science of Google. But what we can do, we can try to put the pressure on teaching our students to be as efficient as that bird is in searching for information. Yeah? And somebody can ask, isn't there any error in the title, Mr. Lorek? Shouldn't be let the students get into the classes? No, it's intentionally. Instead of presenting the idea, it's a translation of short speech between kids and teachers. So follow. Teacher, watch children, and try to imagine that we are in a classroom and the window is open and teacher, look there, what a beautiful hedgehog is outside the window, what a pretty quills and so on, etc. it has. And finally, for God's sake, leave the hedgehog immediately, Mr. Lorek. Now we've got the biology classes. So teachers, let the hedgehog, butterflies, rainbows, and all of this physical phenomenon all around the world get into the classes because the kids have got innate interest in it. Yeah. So let the hedgehog get into the classes together with the students. Very often in school days, we are saying, you should do something, or Andy, I would help you. I'm not sure if it is a good way. Try to say we. The times are changing so quickly, the demands are really big, so we would manage with building this DNA model from Coca-Cola cans, or I mean, we are crossing or fording the glacial river in Iceland, yeah? We, instead you and me. If you take a look at the book prepared by WISE committee, you can easily find that Mr. Lorek is working in a high school #1 in Poland, it's in Central Europe, but I'm not working there, yeah? I'm working here. You mean where? In a student's brain. In fact, it's a real resonance magnetic image of one of my students. So we should remember that we are working not in the schools, it doesn't matter how they look, we are working in the students' brains, yeah? And Mr. Kumar should know it. In the background, you've got the Nanda Devi, one of the holy mountains in India. In the front, you've got a telegraph wire with 5 sparrows sitting in one row. Why I'm showing that our students, even at the same age, even in the same class, even of the same nationality, skin color, and so on, they are as different, not only as night and day, but they are as different even at that mountain, at those sparrows are. And here we come, in my opinion, to the most difficult thing in teaching in future. I mean, how to treat our students as equally as possible, and how to treat them as different as their inspiration, their interests, and their talents are, yeah? If we decided a few minutes ago, okay, I'm not working in a school, I'm just working in a student's brain, somebody can ask, okay, Mr. Lorek, but how are you going to enter your place of your work? I've got some ideas. Okay, we can measure our students' brain in very scientific and very sophisticated way, but try to treat the student's brain as a kind of room with 2 doors, and these doors are here, yeah? And even if due to the pure science, iridology is a kind of parascience, we should try to be the best, I mean teachers, the best iridologists in the class, because otherwise we can't get into the students' brains. Okay, and for a couple of million teachers all over the world, working in the schools is a source of money. We have heard that we need about 2 million of teachers for solving education problem in sub-Saharan countries. But if we make a small change in sequence of events and of attitudes, and treat the school as a place where you go first to meet friends, and then after that we get money for this, it could create a really big difference and final effect. It's a little bit like with DNA helix, where a small change in nucleotide sequence can create really huge, sometimes a really enormous difference in the final result. Yeah. So first friends and then money could create unexpected results. One of the big, if not the biggest, enemy of motivation and for students is boredom. So every teacher all over the world should have a special license. It sounds maybe a little bit strange, or license to kill. I mean, to kill what? To kill boredom. Just to become kind of, so I should become a kind of Mr. Boredom Killer, yeah, instead of Mr. Lorek. And you can say, okay, it's very easy. We've got so much electronic devices, smartphone, tablets, and so on. But it very often requires a lot of money, energy, and so on, problems with compatibility. And to kill the boredom, it is not necessary to have a very sophisticated electronic devices. Sometimes it's really very easy. It's one requirement. We shouldn't be afraid. Not afraid of what, you can say. Very different things. Of a handstand in front of your class, just to helping your students imagine how the peristaltic movement of esophagus work, on climbing onto a desk, on even the taking a 7 meters long rubber hose out of your pocket just to show how the intestine and human is. So license to kill boredom. Nowadays, world is discussing about some problems which could be called global, yeah? I'm pretty sure that one group of people now is discussing somewhere in the world about how to solve a problem of energy source for the future. We are here in Doha discussing about the problem of future education. And another problem of global scale is a kind of global warming. But if it comes to the classroom, we should remember that the emotional climate, when it comes to working with our students, is more important even with a very strict curriculum. So it's probably the only place in the world where a kind of global warming is desirable, yeah? And the temperature was at my electronic thermometer higher than here in Doha. If somebody is counting the letters, this final one, E, education could be defined as a situation where one group of people, usually called teachers, educators, is trying to give another group of people, which is called usually students, kind of skills for solving a problem. And if you want to solve a problem, not only in the classroom, but also in the life in general, you simply need an energy. So the teachers could be defined as a kind of energy transmitters. And I found very often in my school practice, so treat it short speech as a kind of summary of about 20,000 different lessons performed about 20 years of being a teacher. And the secret of energy transmission is to giving a hope, to giving a feeling, the sense of ability to solve the problems, not only in the schools, not only related to equations and pictures, drawings, but also in the life in general, yeah? So teachers as a kind of energy transmitters via hope, via giving hope, yeah? And at the end, somebody can ask, okay, Mr. Lorek, so many requirements, why all of this above? And I've got two answers, maybe a little bit pathetic, but in my opinion, very convincing, at least to me. Your life, I mean, your dear listeners and our students, is really too short. You can ask, okay, it's too short for what, Mr. Lorek? It's too short for doing things which don't give us a thrill. So if you want to find a thrill in your students' eyes, you have to first create such a thrill in your brain, yeah? Okay, and coming to the end, I would like to thank many of my students for the photo credits, and Qatar Foundation for helping with getting here, and also the authority of the town of Leszno, where I'm working, and you, dear friends of education, for this a little bit more than 10 minutes of attention. Thank you very much.